is for you.
What is going on? It is your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco. It is another beautiful Sunday. I am obviously joined by my boy Brandon. I can't say my boy, man. This is, he's a grown man. He's a married man. We got him back fresh off the honeymoon. You know what I'm saying?
Let's
So,
go.
congratulations, obviously, Brandon. I've said it a
Thank you.
million times, but it's an awesome thing.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, so let's talk some football, man. We got the Ravens coming up. We got, some big news coming up. I see everybody starting to leak in. I see y'all. Big shout out to Philly Fresh. Yesterday I was on his channel. So anybody that's new coming from Philly Fresh's channel, I appreciate y'all. I see y'all. So yeah, let's get into this. You know what I'm saying? Let's go over the first topic I really want to talk about. And it's obviously a big one, and that's the fans coming back. What type of impact do you think the fans can have on this game, if any?
I mean, it's limited fans, obviously, but I do think fans bring that a certain energy for players. Like when you're trying to impress people, it's one thing like when they were playing with no fans there, but people are still watching. You still don't get that effect of like some cheering. You get authentic cheering, genuine cheering. And in Philly, you get them boos too. You get real boos the boos that kind of like motivate you. Like, I gotta impress these people. I gotta do right by my fans. And without the fans being there, I think that might have played a part into our underdog thing. We're underdogs. We have been for many years, and having the fans there cheering us on and booing them and everything like that.
Facts.
That I feel like that brings that energy that's really needed in a game like today.
Yeah, I love it. I wish I could be out there, obviously. Big shout out to
Me
Drew
too, man.
Johnson. Big shout out to Kev Thomas. I see y'all. Appreciate y'all being in here. So yeah, I wish I could be out there, man. But those tickets are expensive, and this might be just like the hater in me, but I feel like those rich guys that are, able to buy those tickets
Oh
ain't
yeah,
gonna cheer like us in the, nosebleeds and stuff like that. So they got to really go out there and represent. So, and like you said, it's gonna be like I think 3 to 5 thousand people, like actual fans, because you got to account for the staff and all that like that.
right.
But it could be big. I hope that they get some type of, energy from the fans that are there and they want to put on a show. I know me and you have kind of talked about this in the background. This is a game that is winnable. On paper it might not seem like it if we're talking about last year's Ravens, but
Right.
I feel like this is a game that we can really win. You know what I'm saying? So that brings me to this question. What dub do you think we're going to see this week? I feel like desperation's starting to set in for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get that same aggressive Doug that went for two on the first touchdown against the Steelers, which almost helped us win that game. But or was that the 49ers? One of the two teams, I forget. But I think I was watching like replays from the previous time we played the Ravens, and I think that was Wentz's rookie year. And we ended up going down and driving on the last drive of the game. We got a touchdown, and we could have went for a field goal to tie the game, but we went for two for the win. We didn't get the two. We end up losing, but I kind of like that aggressiveness. I want to see that today because we are in kind of desperate mode. Like we're only a half game out at first in the NFC East, but if we lose another game and let's say the Cowboys go ahead and win tomorrow night against the Cardinals, then look at that. It's just going to keep piling up. So we need to get really aggressive today. I want to see some more creativity. The offense was clicking a little bit last week, so hopefully we can. I know you've been stressing this. Stick to the run. We need to get Miles Sanders his touches. He needs at least 20 touches minimum.
Facts.
Um,
Facts.
but we also need the creativity with the screen game and then with the play calls and everything like that. So I think we're going to see aggressive Doug today, and hope for the best.
That's what we need. Big shout out to Philly fan saying "Fly Eagles Fly"
Yes,
#Bird Gang. Yeah,
sir.
let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, like I said, man, I feel nervously optimistic. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get my boy Swerve up in here real quick.
What's
My
happening? What's
God,
happening? Good
my
evening.
God.
Hey.
Before we go on, before I ask you any of these questions, go ahead and just introduce yourself, man.
I'm Swerve, lifelong Eagles fan, Bird Gang. Um, the host of a few shows, if you don't mind me plugging them real
Of
fast.
course, of
Hey,
course,
First
plug it
off,
in,
thank
man.
y'all for having me.
of
Thank y'all
course.
for having me. I see y'all doing y'all thing. I am a fan
Thank
of
you,
the
man.
Philly podcast, and I'm happy to participate this afternoon.
Thank you.
I'm Swerve, like I said, lifelong Philly fan. I'm an Eagles fan, Sixers fan, Flyers fan. I support the Phillies too. I grew up in the area. Um, Played football all my life. Played baseball. I was actually a better baseball player than I was a football player. Um, and the host of Because I Feel Like It, which you can follow on Facebook, or the Simply Swerve Show, which I did all last football season, the second half of last football season, but I haven't bought it back yet. Um, and I'm just happy to be here. Like I said, thank you guys for having me. Let's
Yes,
talk some
sir.
birds.
Definitely.
Let's
Yeah,
do it,
we're
man.
gonna have all those links in the bio or in the description, whatever you want to say. So let's get right back into what we were saying. So I want to ask you, what Doug do you think we're gonna have to see? Before you answer that, quick shout out to Stephen Loomis. Just threw 25 on Philly. Let's see something. Let's get it. I hope you win, bro. Throw me some money if you do. But but yeah, so Swerve, which Doug do you want to see today?
Here's what I believe. You, you got to run the ball. You
Yep.
have to establish the run for two reasons. You want to keep the Ravens offense off the field. And
Mhm.
secondly, these dudes blitz hella crazy. I don't know what my language level is
No, no,
on
you're
this one.
good, bro. You're good. Don't
Uh,
worry about it.
these dudes blitz. They bring, like last week, they had 5 players in their secondary have sacks. So you have to protect Wentz, and the best way to protect Wentz is running the ball. Like you have to establish the run today, Doug. Like I
Correct.
don't care if you're only getting 3.6 a carry. I don't care. Run the ball. Keep it in third and manageable. Keep it in situations where Wentz isn't dropping back. I don't. If Wentz, if we get the Doug that throws the ball 35 times,
Oh, we're done.
we're gonna win. I think 35 and
Oh,
under,
35. Yeah.
35 and under. Because you didn't we've seen games where Doug will drop Wentz back 50 times. I really believe the magic number is 33, but I'm giving or taking two. I believe if Wentz drops back less than 33 times, that means the Eagles win this game.
Yeah,
If he's over 35, it means they're playing from behind and they lose by 17.
yeah,
So if it's all based on pass attempts. I feel
I
that way
believe
about Lamar Jackson too, but I'll get to that when
facts.
we have that conversation.
Yeah, and I believe with Wentz in that number, inside of that number, it's all about who he's throwing to, the kind of plays. You know what I'm saying? Because that 33, four or five of them, six of them are to his running backs on nice little screens,
Right.
and we're getting that going. That's kind of that's kind of the run game if it's
Yeah.
not working for you. You know what I'm
What
saying?
has
So
happened to our screen game? Like we used to have the best screen
It's
game
too
in the
obvious.
league,
We've been
and
doing
I
now
it
it's
way too obvious.
maybe it's because Goddard goes down. Zach Ertz isn't, the run after catch guy that, Goddard is, not even close, to be honest. So
yeah,
maybe that has something to do with it. But honestly, I think they just gotten stale. I think our whole playbook, offensively and defensively, has gotten stale. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I also want to ask you guys. I don't know if you guys been kind of checking out what's going on, but Howie Roseman just said that he is looking to add somebody. He's trying to get some firepower before the trade deadline. What are you guys thinking? Are there any names that stick out to you, even free agent wise? You know what I'm saying? We'll start with Brandon, and then we'll move it right down.
I mean, I don't know what names really stick out to me because I haven't really paid attention to see who's available. Um, and the season's been weird, especially like I feel like a lot of the headlines have been COVID, and like what facilities are shutting down. So I haven't really paid too much attention as to um, specific players. But what we do know is that we do need linebacker help, and part of me wants to say wide receiver, but the other part of me wants to be like, if this season's going to be a wash and it's not going to be the one that we all thought it could be, then we just need to plug in the young guys and just get them the reps for the season so they're getting the practice in and everything like that. But I really think like if we're going to make a push, and I know we're probably going to talk about it, about who we could trade and what kind of capital we could trade. But I do think that trying to get a good linebacker, not someone that is just sitting on someone's bench and being wasted or something, because then we don't even know what their potential is. But someone that's actually known to be a good linebacker. That's my who I'd want.
No, I agree 100%. Like when he says firepower, is he talking offensive firepower? Is he talking defensive firepower? Because defensively, like I've seen a graphic where we spent $3.8 million on linebacker this year. Like our total core cost $3.8 million. You have Gary, who's your best linebacker. I'm not going to talk bad about the man, but I'd be fine. I'd be fine if he wasn't there. Like, so we're basically like, if you're going to add someone, I don't want what you said. I don't want some guy sitting on somebody's bench that you're going to add. If you believe, I believe that with that getting hurt, they believe that the division is theirs, and then they believe that if you look at the NFC the way it's lined up, Eagles win the division, they get a home game in the first round. Is a 5 or 6, they'll probably end up getting the 6 because they'll be a 4 if they win. Can they beat the 6 at home? Who would the 6 be? San Fran again, the Rams. You got to look at it like
winnable games. Yeah,
those are winnable games. They are very winnable games. So you look at it like, no matter how bad they're playing right now, they have to be the favorite to win the division, because you're bringing Deshaun back, you're bringing Alshon back. If you want wide receiver help, you got to look at cap space and what you're willing to give up. But Julio, the Falcons are pretty much going to cut ties with Julio. They have to cut ties with Matt Ryan and Julio at some point and just go in a rebuild mode. So Julio Jones, is he a realistic option?
Yeah, that's my whole thing too. It's like, do you really want to start putting more money into that, that position at this point? If you have all these young people, like you said, Brandon, you got all these young guys. I forget who I was talking to about it, but I was even saying maybe get somebody like Marquise Goodwin next year as our vet for cheap. You know what I'm saying? He's not old, but he's not young. You know what I'm saying? He's a vet in the sense that he's been playing for a while. And he could, add a little bit of that presence. And
he's a local kid.
Exactly. So I don't see the necessity in really spending the money in that, in that position group, I should say. Linebacker, like you said, the money that we spent on it is kind of a joke. So we need somebody. We need somebody. Before I get into the next topic, I got these kind of backing up. Stephen Loomis says Booby needs a ball and Fulgham needs to have another great game. Fulgham looks good, so this will be
he's
big.
a catch. He has
the chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, and we usually give the players away and they go somewhere. Like Aguilar leads the league in ratings for players over 10 attempts, 10 receptions. Like, it's crazy. We usually send a guy somewhere else and he blossoms. And I'm so happy that the kid 13, Fulgham, is showing that he can actually play ball. And that's another reason, like you said, if we think the season is a wash, let the young kids get reps. But at the same time, you can't let the young kids get reps and consider the season a wash when you're only half a game out of the division. I'm with you, though. If we're going to throw the season away, thanks for Trevor. Thanks for Trevor.
See, my thing is that if you start putting in these young guys, is it really saying that we're tanking? I mean, if Alshon and Djax cannot stay on the field, and even when Djax was out there, he didn't really give us much.
No.
I mean, what are we,
I agree.
Are we really throwing away the season?
Let's say they can go get Julio, because next year there is no Alshon Jeffrey money.
I mean, but where do we get that? I don't even really. I mean, I
don't want him either.
In a Madden mind state, like to kind of put it like that, I would love Julio, but where we are right now, I feel like it's either the players are really, really bad that we have, or this front office is a whole mess.
I think the front office, I want to put it on the front office. I really do.
That's what it's looking like to me. And then my boy Kevin Thomas said we need a great game in all three phases. One thing I will say about that is that there are a lot of special team players, Duke Riley, Rudy Full, Marcus Epps, excuse me. A lot of special team players that are getting hurt, and they're probably the most consistent phase of our team as a special team. So I'm hoping they don't take a step back. But what do you guys think about that? We definitely need a big game from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like special teams, especially the year in 2017, special teams was huge for us. And I think we need to hopefully get back into that. All three phases: defense playing well, offense playing well, but then we also need like that one big play on special teams because that can just switch momentum any which way. Special teams big plays, I feel like outweigh defensive big plays. Like when you get that fumble recovery or
that
that
big hit on the
that big
yeah.
hit, the big hit hypes everyone up.
Will Parks is activated
Mm-hmm.
today, and he's a demon on special teams. So maybe we can get a big play out of Will Parks on special teams. I know they said they're going to give him a expanded role from what he had in Denver, but he made his way in the league on special teams, and he's definitely a great addition to have on the special team. So maybe we can get the big play out of Parks on special teams
And
today to spark
it's
it.
his first game in his home stadium, so maybe this will be a nice hype up game for him. He'll come out with the energy. When you see him on videos, like when they show him like in practice and stuff, like he always looks like he has a great personality and like
Yeah.
he just looks hyped. So hopefully, him being home and being with the Eagles and getting the Philly native a chance, I think it could pay dividends. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully he goes off. And if they seemed really like excited about him in the off season. He
Yeah.
seems like he's a good. I know he took a little bit less money to be here because he, obviously is from around here, and he said he would fit good in here. I want to read this comment real quick. Unforgiven 774. Shout out to you. Says, I've been saying this all season. Run the ball, open up the playbook a bit, and Schwartz needs to stop putting linebackers on wide receivers. I nearly punched my screen last week.
No, I think we all did in that fourth touchdown. That fourth touchdown to Claypool. My God, man.
He came out in a flat cover 2, and it's like the safety's playing up, and it's the one guy who's been a vertical threat, and you just and you let him run past you. I didn't get that. Like game on the line.
He didn't even get a chance to backpedal. My dude used to be a safety and couldn't turn his hips without stumbling. That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like he changed everything that he does. You were put in a different position, but you were still asked to do the same thing.
And it's not even like Claypool's a burner. Like he ran 4.5, 4.6.
Claypool's like 6'6" or something like that.
4.6 run past you. He's 6'5", 235.
Yeah, come on,
and
man.
He ran straight past you, bro. You used to be a safety.
Yeah, those skills don't disappear.
Yeah,
you know how to flip your hips. Like
I was just like, what?
Will Parks has to be that guy, though. There's no excuse now. You have to take him out. Like I don't understand how Nathan Gary.
He shouldn't have been in. If a team comes out 4 and 5 wide, like I know traditionally when you go dime, you have that one linebacker. Especially on those situations. No. Just put a safety in there and play small. Like your defensive line. Like you have the one of the best defensive lines in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a team is coming out 4 wide, 5 wide, you can bring a safety down and have him play backer because your line is going to eat up any chance of those linemen getting to the second level. So it's like I don't understand why Gary was in the game covering him when they came out. I think they were 5 wide that play, I believe. They went 5. They might have been 4 and brought somebody back. They might have went 5 and brought the running back into the backfield. But it's no reason for Gary unless he's on the back. But even if he's on the back, that's still a mismatch in most situations. Yeah, like, let's be honest. There's probably 139 linebackers in the league, and Gary's probably ranked 141st.
Facts. Yeah, he's terrible. I do not understand how he's still on the field. Now, I want to talk about something, and I know it's a little bit off subject. We're starting to talk about defense, but I want to bring it back to the offensive side. A lot of people have been saying this. I want to get your guys' input. I'm only playing devil's advocate. Don't come after me, all right? Should we be trading Ertz?
What can you get first? What can you get for him right now? He's playing like garbage. He gave up one. Like they said that was Wentz threw an interception last week. It wasn't Wentz's fault. Like I defend Wentz a lot, and I know I'm a big Wentz guy. Wentz has played horrible in spurts this year. Like the 2 interceptions against the Redskins. I get it. They were bad throws. The receivers didn't fight, but you shouldn't make those throws with a 17-point lead. It's your 5th year in. You got to make better decisions. His decision making has regressed.
Hmm.
I think talent wise, the talent is still there. The line has been in shambles, and he hasn't been protected. And then I think it was stupid ass play call in the first couple of weeks when they were trying to push everything vertical.
Yeah.
Like they tried to be the Kansas City Eagles instead of doing what works. And just to go back to something, week one, I really think that uh, without Lane Johnson and without Miles Sanders, they still thought they were going to go down there and win against Washington, and they didn't adjust or do anything. But the two interceptions there were horrible. The interception against the Rams was horrible. They were all on Wentz. That interception in Pittsburgh, Ertz got bumped off his route. He was further than 5 yards, so it should have been a penalty. But soon as the backer bumped him, he gave up on the play. Wentz
Mhm.
was throwing the ball where Ertz should have been, and Ertz gave up on the play.
Right.
Ertz is playing like garbage this year. I don't know if it's the contract situation. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what the deal is, but he doesn't look like the guy we've gotten the last 3 or 4 years. And I think you can't trade him because his value isn't what it was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So
I think with Ertz, it's tricky because, he's been an Eagle this whole time. We drafted him. He's gotten better each year. Like if you're looking at his stats, each year he's just gotten better, better, better. Especially when Wentz was drafted. But I have a feeling that Ertz is kind of at the point where it's like last year I sacrificed my body. I'm jumping over the middle. I got my broken ribs. Like I was doing that all out for the Eagles. And now when I want my extension to like secure my bag and to make sure my future solidified, you guys don't want to give me the money that I deserve. And I can see why, like maybe on a play like that where maybe he wasn't running over the middle, maybe if he would have just stopped right there in the zone right in between the linebacker and safety, it's an easy completion. He can just drop and save his body. But I can see that I haven't really seen him catching balls over the middle this year. And
yeah,
maybe
I
that's
think he's
because he's
checked out.
shying away. He's like,
He's
I'm
checked
not going
out.
to get hurt for this team. I'm not going to put my body on the line if I'm not going to get paid.
But I
So
have a
he's def-
question. They
yeah.
offered him a better contract than what Austin Hooper signed for it, and he didn't take it.
Is he better than
Now,
Austin Hooper though?
is he? I mean, we watched the real tight end on Sunday night in San Francisco. Greg Kittle was a man. Like they keep trying to put Ertz. Their argument was Ertz, Kelsey, Kittle, right? I
Right.
think Kelsey and Kittle are 1A and 1B.
Definitely.
I think the kid from Oakland the last 2 years has silently
Waller.
played
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has silently outplayed Ertz. Now, I
Waller's
believe part
nice.
of the reason is you built this offense to have deep threats so that Ertz could work free. And the last 2 years, there's been no deep threat, so
Right.
teams have just bracketed Ertz and
Exactly.
forced.
We haven't had any receiver threat. Like
Yeah,
you can bracket and double team Ertz and keep him out the game, and then Wentz is just he doesn't really trust his wide receivers until
yeah.
recently. But Alshon's been out, Djak's been out, Nelson lost his hands, but now he found his hands in Oakland, and just like
Typical.
there's just like all these different things that are happening. So yeah, I mean, as a defensive coordinator, I'm going to game plan around. Hey, let's stop the run because Doug, if he's not getting the right amount of yards, he stops running the ball.
Soon as he's under 4, he just gives
Yeah,
up on the run
and let's double Ertz and call it
and
a
make the
day.
other guys beat you. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. Like no Deshaun, no deep threat. So you bracket Ertz. But I think this year, like he didn't take the Austin Hooper money. I get it, but I also you got to understand. You breathe on Zach Ertz and he falls. There's no
Exactly.
gag. He doesn't block. He doesn't. Hooper
Right.
blocks. Hooper can block and he runs routes. Kittle will manhandle a defensive end.
Right.
Kelsey is more of the finesse guy, but I think Kelsey will throw his body on the line and man up and block if necessary. Ertz doesn't do that. Do you want to give this? What is he? 30,
Yeah,
I
31.
think
I
so.
think he's 29 right now.
Do you want to give him a 4-year extension when you have Goddard in the wing?
That's the thing. And is he worth 13? Like I understand 11 mil. Even that I think is a little bit expensive.
I think
But
he's a $10 million guy.
me too. I can live with that. I don't think he's
But
worth
I'm not
13
giving you
million.
top tight. Waller, the kid from Oakland, dude, they found him on the Ravens practice squad. He was
Mhm.
getting ready to smoke his way out the league,
Facts.
and
Facts.
now he's. I mean, you got to look like, and this is what I believe. I believe you have your elite level tight ends, right? You have your Kelsey. You have your Kelsey. You used to have Ertz. You have Kittle. You can put Weiler in there. But then after that, like you pay those guys the 13 million. But the drop off between those and like you got to look at a guy who was drafted high like Ebron. Ebron's produced. You can get production from a tight end and not spend $13 million a
Exactly.
season.
Yeah, and
So
you can see it's changing.
I mean, look at
like-
Higbee too from the Rams. Higbee's come out of nowhere
Higbee's
too.
killing it.
Yeah.
And it's like you pay your Kittles and you pay your Kittles, you pay your Kelce's because in reality they're putting up wide receiver 1 numbers.
Right.
But if your tight end isn't putting up wide receiver numbers, it's no way in hell I'm paying them $13 million because I can go get Goddard or Ebron or like a Greg Olsen who's old, a vet, but he's still producing. You get those guys for $5-6 million. You can get 2 of those and still play 12, still play your 3 tight with Rodgers at the same amount of money that you spend on Ertz. Would it hurt to lose Ertz if he continues on the path he's this year? No, it wouldn't hurt. If he's going to continue to play like he's playing this year, let him go. Cut him. Get it. I believe that his value was a second. At the beginning of the year, I believe you could have got a second for him, but right now, no, you're not getting a second for Ertz.
Yeah, I like Ertz. Don't get me wrong, I love Ertz, but like we said, he's budget wise, we don't have the money to give him top dollar.
It's not fiscally responsible.
Exactly, it just doesn't make sense. That's our guy. You know, thank you for the Super Bowl, but especially if you're going to mentally be checked out, if you're really just going to give up on us, because
if you're not running your routes and being where you're supposed to be,
exactly, or if you're injured, let us fucking know. Like,
let us know.
Let something know. You know, because like right now we're just like assuming a bunch of things. It's hard to really say what's going on. Before I get into the next topic, I just want to get some of these comments because I'm like letting them pile up. So, shout out to Devil Wolf. Says, I'm an Eagles fan, but I think the Eagles lose 34-21. Well, whatever.
Not today.
Not today. We about to take this one. Unforgiven says, Ertz is worried about his contract. Can't let distractions get in the way of your mindset of the game at hand. Facts.
And you know what the other thing is that he has 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah, I was getting ready to get there. I was getting ready to say.
I just don't understand. Like maybe next year be like all like mopey and all that. But you're still getting paid this year, and you still have this year to add to your resume and be like, look at last year I did this, the year before I did that.
He's supposed to kill it this year and walk in the office and be like, look, I don't want Austin Hooper money. I need Kelsey money. I need Kittle's money. Like, I watched that San Fran game again the other day, and I was like, yo, like, Kittle's. I used to argue because like I said, I love Ertz, and I used to argue all the time. My friends would tell you, I said it on the show. I'd be like, man, stop disrespecting Ertz and saying this Kittle's kid is better than him. Bruh, I watched the 49ers game again, and then I went back and watched him last season. That dude, he's number 1 in my book. Like,
yeah, he's a beast. He
Kittle's
could be both.
Kittle's
he can run routes and he can block.
He can run routes and he like manhandles. Like I was watching him blocking, and that's the difference. Like he's Ertz and Goddard combined. Like, because Goddard will put his nose in and get in the mix. Ertz don't get in the mix, man. Ertz doesn't get in the mix. Hooper gets in the mix. Like, Hooper, and the thing is, Hooper came out of the league, came out of college as a blocker, and he's developed into the pass catcher that he is today. Like, it's a tight end in the draft. Let Ertz go and draft that kid from Florida. Kyle Parks, I think his name is. Yeah. Oh my dude! Every Saturday I'm watching this kid. Like,
and that's the thing; it's changed so much. The tight end position is not what it used to be. And Zach Ertz was a little bit ahead of his time, even for when he got drafted. But now you need somebody that can get that yards after reception. You know what I'm saying? So I need to see more from him. Before we get into, let me get some more of these comments. And then Eagles has landed, says Wentz needs to keep going deep to Hightower. Sooner or later, that connection will work. They also said by Ertz, we need to get younger and get more draft picks to rebuild the defense. But to talk about the young guys that they have at wide receiver, I agree with that. At some point, that connection is going to hit. You got to keep working on that.
I agree. I was watching the game last week. And Hightower they missed on 2 big plays. I'm watching it, and I'm like, you know why they missed? Because there was no offseason. There's no chemistry there. There's no. I like Watkins and Hightower, but the Hightower, it's clear he has burners. It's clear Rager has burners. We understood, like I said, we understood. They watched Kansas City win a Super Bowl, and they went out and mimicked it. But
Right.
the problem was there was no off season to put everything
To
in
play. Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
So I like the young kids. I really do. I think 2 years from now, a year
Hey.
next season with an off season, you're going to see Wentz connect on those vertical routes. You're going to see it because they're going to have an off season to build chemistry. My boy was like, "Oh, he's a bum. The ball went straight through his arms. The ball." And I'm like, "Bro, you got to understand. That's a 20-year-old kid playing in
Right.
his first major action, and he's probably only caught that ball 2 times from. They probably only ran a play 2 times at practice where he was actually lined up with Wentz to begin with because that's supposed to be Deshaun Jackson's play.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Facts.
it takes time. Like even with what's the name, Fulgham, right? That ball and walk it to him Wentz. That's what Shannon called him, dude. That ball was a long handoff. Like it wasn't a great catch by Fulgham. It was the perfect throw. Like you had to be Aguilar to drop that.
Facts. And you see his
So
eyes aren't even looking at the
Right. Yeah.
ball.
They're
He's
just
just
like,
kind of like,
yeah, his
did I
hand
really
like
just do
he
this?
couldn't find the ball. He didn't even know where the ball was. The
Facts.
ball just fell in. It touched his arm, and he's like, "Okay, I'm good. I'm good."
Yeah,
Like
we got signs of the catch.
so,
we'd
it
be having a different conversation about Fulgham if he dropped that.
if
Oh
he
my
Oh
dropped
my
god.
that
god.
ball, he dropped that ball. He's number 13. Like it's exactly. But no, it's no off season, no preparation. We got to give these kids a chance. We have to let them develop and that's why I
Right.
say this season is kind of like because you can't. Number one, you can't really judge a team because you got to think we're 4 games in. You get 4 games in the preseason. Like we just watched the preseason. The real season starts now. The teams that are winning, for the most part, didn't make a lot of major changes
Right.
in the off
A
season.
lot of
Are they plugged?
continuity.
Exactly. They have the continuity. They're a cohesive unit. They might have missed. They might have had to plug one guy in. But you look at us. You lose Dillard. You lose Brooks. Pryor sick.
I
Uh,
think we're sick of Pryor. I think that's really what it is. I
you
think that's
you
it.
you're missing your 1 and 2. Like the only receiver I was watching, they showed a stat. The only receiver playing last week that had 50 catches was Greg Ward,
Mm-hmm.
50 career receptions. So you're playing these guys with no preseason. Your line is in shambles. You bought JP back. He's beat up. He's 58 years old, and at 58, he's probably still your second, third best lineman. So you're playing with you're playing at one point you were playing with 80% backup linemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's bad. I mean, I think right now we're on our fifth different rotation of offensive linemen. So
But
that
It's
actually
crazy.
brings me to my next question. I wanted to know, should we just cut ties with JP right now? Just go with the young guys that we have?
no,
I
you
mean, I
can't.
wouldn't cut him, no, because even if let's say JP comes back healthy, but Jordan has been playing lights out, and you want to keep Jordan in at the left tackle. Well, we still have other spots where he was trained to be right guard. That's
Right
what he
guard,
was
right.
doing all off season and getting ready for when he signed with the Eagles in the first place for his comeback. So I mean, yeah, we have some different variations at right guard. Like right now, I think we're starting Jamon Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Who's it? I mean, he has games under his belt. He's started 47 games, so I'm not too worried about him. It's definitely I wouldn't. I don't know if he's gonna be an upgrade, but probably better than Pryor. And maybe Herbig's been doing well, so hopefully there's something good going there. But you can plug JP in at that spot. You can plug him at the guard spot if Jordan is lighting it up, because let's be real here, Jordan, this is his first season ever really playing, and he's already looking better than the age JP, because
Yeah.
obviously younger prime JP is Hall of
Yeah,
Fame
that's
worthy.
Yeah,
different. Yeah.
But when you watch JP earlier this season, he's getting beat every
he
which
struggled.
way,
He's struggling. He's
and then
struggling.
next thing you know, he's hurt. It's like struggle, 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 hurt. It's kind of like it's been the cycle the last couple of years. So um, yeah, I don't think you cut him, because what does that save at this point? Unless you're trying to make a big trade and you need the cap space.
Yeah, that's the only
But
way you cut him.
other than that, there's no real big reason why you would lose the depth for no reason.
And I also think that he played right. He was training to be a right tackle. I mean, right. He was training. He was in his mindset. He was playing guard until like 3 weeks before the season started.
Right.
He's an old man. He's older, but again, you don't cut that valuable piece because you're only a game out of making the playoffs. And then
Facts.
when
Facts.
the playoffs
Facts.
come, I don't you need JP. JP might get beat, but if you need JP to man up and play left tackle and say, look, this game is dependent on you got a Cameron Jordan or somebody out there coming off the edge. You Jordan looked good, but he ain't never played Cameron Jordan in prime time. Or
Right.
I believe so. You need that mentality because you get old. I'm old, but I know if you need me to go out there and play one game and slow this young boy down, I'm gonna go out there and give you 100%. And that's
Facts.
JP's a dog. Like
Right.
he's just you know what it is. We've watched him be so great. And it's like you're like, oh man, JP is done because we've watched him be great for so many years,
Mhm.
and
Right.
even slowed down. Like I was having this conversation. Hard like JP, the 11 games he played. Oh, we know we're gonna get false start. Shit, when he was the best tackle in the league, he was still false
Yeah,
starting.
facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So it's like he declined. We watch. It's like this. Like to take it to another sport. 4 years from now, we're gonna be watching LeBron and be like, yo, he's washed up. But is he washed up because he's only averaging 23 points a game? And you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
JP was still, if you rank the 32 tackles in the league, he's still top 15, top 16 in the
Yeah.
11 games he played. It's just we're used to him being the
Great.
best tackle
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. It's
So you
it's kind
can't
of
cut him.
yeah. It's all I guess like what's the word I'm looking for? It's all your perspective on it, I guess,
Yeah.
because yeah, you look 5 years ago, he's just manhandling people, but that
I remember when Andy Reid traded for him, and they're like, "You giving all that up for a dude who was once on the practice squad?"
for a
And
tight
Andy
end.
was like, "Yo, we getting the best. He's going to be the best tackle in the league." And Cass was like, "Yo, Andy's tripping." And look at him. I miss
Now look
Andy
at him.
sometimes. I miss Andy sometimes because he had that foresight. He
We
had
all
that
miss Andy
vision.
sometimes.
I know,
Yeah,
right? See, I mean, it's weird because we won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl. I didn't really care that they won a Super Bowl, like as far as
Right.
like, oh, we should have kept Andy. But now looking like I'm like, damn, we should have kept Andy. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. I want to ask you guys about Andre Dillard. Now we are talking about Mailata. We are talking about, and it's kind of coming up in the comments. So I'm going to read some of those in a second. But we have talked about Mailata. Obviously, Driscoll showed that he can play a little bit. Do you think when Dillard comes back next year, he's going to have a job, or could he become a trade piece?
I mean, it all really depends on how Mailata plays this year, and if they stick with him. Like I said, because if they decide to go with JP just because he's healthy, then we may not be able to see Mailata for a longer period of time. But if he keeps playing well, like he just had to play against Bud Dupree, and Bud Dupree is no joke. That dude is on fire this season, and
yeah,
for the most part, he kept them in check. For the most part, we didn't really hear Bud Dupree's name most of the game. So, and I know Jeff Stoutland's pretty still tough on him. He's like, he still needs to work on his hands and all that. But that's just a player needing to improve no matter which stage they are in their career. So if Mailata is still killing, if he's killing it and playing well enough to earn that starting role, then I mean, it would suck because that's a first round pick we would have wasted on Dillard. But if you can work him into a good deal, because I mean, a lot of teams need offensive linemen, and it's kind of hard to keep a guy as depth from a first round pick. Like that's
yeah.
you don't want to use your first round pick and be like, oh, that's just our
That's
depth
a
guy at
swing
this
tackle.
point.
That's our. We
Yeah,
don't take a
yeah,
first
you
round
don't
pick
want
on a
that. So
swing
if you
tackle.
can package him in a nice deal, then obviously take that route. If Jordan's playing well, if Jordan sucks and JP has to come back in, and then JP is old JP, like old age JP, I'm saying. Then you keep Dillard for the off season and all the workouts and all that, and to try to give him one more shot because unfortunately he didn't get his shot this year. He got hurt, and it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you can't use a first round pick on a swing tackle. Uh, I was never a Dillard fan. I think he's soft, but you can't. I'm not. I'm saying soft from an NFL perspective. I'm not saying soft from he's a soft dude. I'm saying like he came from an offense where they didn't run the ball.
Mhm.
So he pass blocked 50 times a game. They said Josh Sweat was out there giving him the work in practice one time. They said Sweat had like 7 sacks on him at practice. So I've never been a Dillard fan. So if the young fella develops, like you said, he held Bud Dupree in check for the most part. We got to see him against some of the bigger names. If he holds his own, and you can package Dillard, because I believe, like you said, there are teams who are willing to trade for a left tackle because left tackle is the second most important position in offense. If there's a team that believes in Dillard, by all means, take. If they're giving a second for him, I take it.
Facts, yeah.
But it all depends on the young fella. If the young fella shows he can handle playing left tackle, like I said, the Vitae looked horrible when he first started playing tackle.
Right.
Vitae looked horrible his first few games, and it was just like, what the hell are the Eagles thinking? Saying this guy is good enough to play tackle, and hell, look, he came in the Super Bowl run. Detroit paid him, so I've never been sold on Dillard. If after this year it shows that you might not need Dillard, or like I was saying this, what if? And this might sound crazy, but I think like this. What if you move Lane to left tackle? See how move Lane to left tackle. Driscoll can play right tackle. He's actually been halfway decent filling in for Lane. Or you move the big kid over to right tackle and see how he plays. I believe Lane can make the transition to left tackle.
I
So
think it's too late at this point. I think just leave him there. Just because I mean, just like when Brandon Brooks comes back, you're the best on one side. Like it's gonna
yeah.
be hard for anybody to tell me that anybody's right guard, right tackle combination is better
Oh
than
no, if they're
ours.
both healthy, they're clearly the best
Yeah, so
guard tackle combination in the league.
I think moving forward, and I'm glad that you brought up Big V because I don't want that situation for the Eagles to happen again where we get no value out of somebody. I think we got
Yeah.
like a fourth
Right.
round compensatory.
Compensatory pick
Yeah,
from
you know,
V. And
his
that's
favorite
stupid.
thing in the world. Yeah, exactly. We could have got more out of that.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
could have.
we
Right.
knew we weren't going to use him. So
Yeah.
I don't want that situation to happen with someone like Dillard because, you know, if he has value and we don't need him, you got to get rid of him. So let me catch up
But you
on
know what
some of
happens?
these.
Dillard leaves Philadelphia and becomes Jason Peters Jr. and goes on to be a Hall of Fame tackle. That's how it plays out.
It's true. I mean, you got to make that decision, you know. So Y Sway says we have to use Dillard unless we wasted a first round pick. Eagles landed says keep JP for depth after season. Show him the door. He can come back as a coaching assistant. I feel that.
Agreed.
Unforgiven says, oops, I messed up. Did I? Yeah. JP needs to go. He's been injured the last few years, even Super Bowl year. He got hurt. We need to let him retire an Eagle and let the young O line get some reps. I agree with that. Dalton Habina, that's a new name, so shout out to you. He said, or she, whatever. It says, feed Miles Sanders, keep Lamar Jackson off the field.
That's the key. Well, I mean, we'll discuss that toward the
We'll
end, but
tell you.
that was one of my points there.
Is Andre Dillard Danny Watkins Jr.?
Please don't say
If, you know, if he
that.
goes play, he's gonna go be the best fireman in the land, though. You know, if he is. And then Wise Sway says, hopefully they don't hold Josh Sweat at this time. Or this time, he literally could have 10 sacks if they stop holding them.
Watt has
Josh Sweat and
developed.
Dillard are working together
Josh Sweat's
because
nice.
Dillard.
I like Josh Sweat.
Yeah, we have some guys, bro. We got some dudes, man. Like,
And Vinny Curry's active today.
Yeah, so let's
That's
switch
good
over
depth.
to the defense. All right, let's talk about Jim Schwartz a little bit, man. What you guys talk to me about? I don't even want to ask a question at this point. I just want to throw the name out there and see what comes because you know I know there's probably a million different thoughts on the name. So talk to me, y'all.
Let's go, Swerve. What you got?
You posted something that was super hilarious about the Howie thing where he was like the kid from Oklahoma, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna draft this quarterback." Right? So I'm not a Jim Schwartz hater. I used to be. Like my boys at work played this sound clip because I forget. I went to the Tennessee game when they played in Nashville, right? and the Eagles blew a 17-point lead because he was playing that stupid fucking
That
six
sticks.
defense,
Yo,
bro.
oh my, yeah.
And then I think like the week later, I was at the game. I think they were playing the Panthers or somebody, and they were up 19-0.
Yep.
And he went to the sticks defense, and the Panthers came back and they interviewed me after the game. Like, I'm wrecked. I'm like, that goddamn Schwartz has to go. He's an idiot. I can't blame it all on him. The front, like we talked earlier, the front office, like we drafted a linebacker in the third round who haven't touched the field. So, like Jim Schwartz, it's like this. If I ask Jim Schwartz to make a pizza and I give him a crust and I give him sauce, but I don't give him cheese, how can I complain about the pizza? So
I feel you.
they went and got him Slay this year, which is cool. But again, $3.8 million on linebackers. I swear someone quoted from the front office. I don't know if it was Schwartz or the front office, but they said linebacker is going to be a point of focus this offseason. How is it a point of focus when you spent $3.8 million total
Facts.
on the position? I don't even think his play calling has been that bad this year because he's blitzing a little more. He's making quarterbacks uncomfortable. The first few years of Schwartz, it was get pressured with the front four. It wasn't often he bought a blitz. This year he's been blitzing. He's been making quarterbacks uncomfortable. He's been doing certain things, but no matter how good your play call is, if you have Gary covering Claypool, the Jeff Goff, who I think is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL, had a perfect passer rating when throwing at Nathan Gary. He was 13 for 13 for 158 yards.
That man's trash.
Throwing at Gary. That's not Schwartz's fault because who can Schwartz look at on the bench? Hey, you come here now. He doesn't have the luck. He has to play Gary, and that's not all on him. That's part of the front office not addressing issues. So
Right.
I'm giving Schwartz a slight pass because his play, he's been a little more aggressive. And the Eagles defense isn't that bad. I mean, they got 40 hung up on them by Pittsburgh, but they haven't been that bad prior to playing Pittsburgh. And even in Pittsburgh, he got after Ben. They dogged Ben. Claypool, it was just Gary on Claypool.
Yeah.
So I feel like we just don't put our people in a good
A
position. I
possession
feel
that
like
he's successful.
I think a lot of his play calling has become very like dull. And I made a video not too long ago, and I was saying that I'm not off of the fire Jim Schwartz train just yet. I'm slowing it down to see if Howie needs to get on the seat too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
and
where
maybe,
I'm at.
it might be both of them just need to go, because at the end of the day, I understand that the guys on the bench might not be better than what we have, but I honestly,
They can't
I
be
don't
too much
understand.
worse.
Exactly. I don't
That's what I'm
understand.
saying.
It can't
Yeah.
be worse than what he's doing right now. You know what I'm saying? So I have to see you try something else, even if it doesn't work. When Alex Singletary was in there, I know we keep beating this drum, but when he was in there, I think he had a tackle for loss. He had an interception, touchdown. These other guys are making plays when it needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? These guys are going off right
Will we
now.
see more?
Yo,
Will we
Jim
see more
Schwartz
Wallace
combo
tonight?
is just.
Say that
What was
again. I'm
that?
sorry.
Will we see Kayvon get a little bit more burn today?
I hope so.
I think, depending on the package, that Parks is going to take that Epps role. He's going to get in more, I think. But I think since Kayvon has been in there the last couple of weeks and kind of getting warmed up, he probably will be in there. I would assume a little bit more than Parks, so he can get warmed up too.
I think the matchup kind of dictates because I don't want Gary on Boyle or Andrews.
No, definitely not Mark Andrews. He's been lighting people up too.
Definitely don't. So I think like Parks, he hasn't played, but Parks and Kayvon Wallace should draw that assignment more so than Gary. I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Like I don't want to see Gary on Andrews at all.
just needs Schwartz to get exotic. He needs to, because when you listen to some of his press conferences, he mentions like, we try to make it simpler. We try to simple it down. We try to do this and make it more simple. It's like, all right, you have these NFL players. They're in the NFL. This is not college.
Right.
It's not Pee Wee. It's not high school. Make this shit. I mean, make this stuff complicated. Just like
I
make
always
it
think it's funny
complicated.
when you curse. I don't know why. I barely ever curse. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I try not to. I try not to.
Just to interject real quick, Dalton Habina. From what I know, Darius Slay is not out. He just is in
he cleared concussion
protocol, so he should be playing today.
He cleared protocol. He definitely cleared protocol.
He should be good. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Brandon.
No, that's all good. No, I'm just saying. He just needs to be more exotic with the blitzes, have people moving. I love when he puts at times Brandon Graham at the DT spot. And I mean, that's how we got that strip sack fumble in the Super Bowl. Like, you mix it up, get these players. They do it with Khalil Mack all the time. He's all over the place. All these big players are all over the place. If you mix it up and you mix up the blitzes and make it complicated, these are NFL players. They should be able to do this.
That goes to the point where we are facing a defense that gets exotic every chance they get. Like, Wink is out there calling blitzes. He's blitzing 11 dudes. Like, Wink is out there blitzing 11 guys, and he just wants to punish the quarterback every chance he gets. And that's what the Eagles are going to have to deal with today. A guy who will bring 6, 7, 8. And so because, number one, the Ravens have the best cornerback combination in the NFL. So when you have that great cornerback play, you can bring 6, 7 guys, and that's what the Ravens do. I need to see a little bit more of that from Schwartz. I need you, and especially today, because Will Snead and Hollywood Brown, dude, they can't beat you on the outside unless it's really fluky. So you need to put your man up on them corners, get down in a box, because I believe I might have jumped too far ahead, but I believe the game is won by stopping them running the ball and making Lamar Jackson beat you outside the numbers. Man up, bring some pressure, contain and bring the pressure in the pocket, and your corners have to play big today. Your corners have to play big. They got to go. You man up, because Hollywood Brown and Will Snead, I mean, who are those guys?
They fast. That's about it.
Well, see, that's the thing. I know Hollywood Brown. He's real fast. Like, he's a you dude.
But you put hands on him.
That's the thing. Yeah, so they got to be. That's the thing, though. We were talking about this on Fresh's channel yesterday. Like, you can't be playing man 10 yards back.
10 yards off.
If you're gonna play man, get up on these dudes.
Get up in his face. Man. And I understand, like, Claypool, you don't have much tape on this guy, and he's a 6'5", 235-pound guy. You might not want to put a Maddox on him and jam him. But Hollywood Brown is 5'10", 175 pounds. You better put some hands on this man, and throw him off his route. And you and McLeod or Mills, they don't really need the shade, but especially if you got Slay out there, Slay don't need too much help on Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
you man up and you take these receivers. You know what you treat them like? You treat them like Todd Pinkston and James Thrash. How Ricky Manning used to manhandle Todd Pinkston.
Yep, just get them tough right in their face.
You get right in their face, and you let them know it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. Because I don't believe
some, you know.
I don't believe Brown and Snead can beat you. I don't believe Brown and Snead can beat you.
I agree.
Yeah, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. You got to get in their face though. So let's move on to like Lamar Jackson. What are your thoughts on Lamar Jackson? I mean, before we even get into that, I want to say, if you really look at Lamar Jackson this year, I don't feel like they've been unleashing him as a runner as much as they did last year, which will probably work in our favor. And
hopefully,
when asked to be a passer, he hasn't looked elite. You know, he hasn't looked terrible. He hasn't been the worst quarterback, obviously, but he hasn't looked elite. So I want to know your thoughts on how we can, slow him down. I know, Swerve, you got into it a little bit. We'll start with you, Brandon, and we'll work our way back down to Swerve.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been the best defense against running type quarterbacks. If you look at Russell Wilson, that dude has a game against us pretty much every time. We have yet to beat him. And that's the one tough thing. Our defensive line, I feel like they're built for the pocket passer, like pocket passers that they're gonna try to get at you, and you're not really gonna run away. You might try to step around and everything, but our defense, I feel like we have some athletic guys. Like I want to see Josh Sweat out there today because I feel like he's the type of dude that he can get after the quarterback, but he's built in a sense that he can kind of break from his assignment and go along with Lamar Jackson. I don't like. I know the obvious thing is to put a quarterback spy on him, but I don't want that to be the key all game because what's going to happen is you're taking a player out of zone, out of man, whatever, just to focus on Lamar Jackson, and he's going to be throwing over the top to the tight ends over the middle and stuff like that. But if Nate Gary was going to be any kind of good and use any kind of speed, I guess his worth right now would be playing that spy position.
Against Lamar Jackson.
He might get boogied on. He might be there's gonna be a highlight today, at least one from Lamar Jackson. Nate Gary's gonna look terrible. I can already see it. But if we only let one of those go by, I think that's a win. So
I got to stop seeing people get jumped over. That's
every season.
Some ankles.
Every season.
I'm getting tired of these hurdles, man. But go ahead, Swerve.
Here's the thing. The run game. Stop the run. Like, stop the run and get ahead. Like, I need the offense to jump out and score early because if Lamar Jackson, again, like I said, the magic number for Wentz is 33. And then I'll give you +2, 35. Anything over 35, it means chances are the Eagles are going to lose that game. Lamar Jackson's number is 25. If he's not throwing the ball 25 times, that means the Ravens have grinded the ball. They're shoving the ball right down the defense's neck, and they're not going to have a chance. Take away the middle. Lamar Jackson isn't an elite passer when he's throwing outside the numbers. So, but inside the hashes, Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback. He's an elite quarterback because those legs give him options, and he's throwing to Andrews or Boyle where he completes. I think I was doing some research. I think he completes like 73% of his passes to the tight end, which is ridiculous, right? So the key is to mud up the middle as much as possible. You got to that's what I said. Your corners have to man up and play big, and you put 9 men in between them hash marks, and you force Lamar Jackson outside to beat you outside of the hash marks, throwing the ball inside of the hash marks, running the ball. Your defensive ends have to contain and force him. Like, because you watch his highlights, and his highlights are him breaking contain. A lot of his highlights start with him breaking contain.
Right.
So you have to keep him contained and force him to step up in the pocket. So if you're bringing pressure, don't bring the pressure from the middle. A lot of teams make mistakes. A lot of teams make the mistakes when they play the Ravens, when they bring the pressure from the middle, allowing him to escape on the outside. You want to bring the pressure from the outside and force him to step up in the pocket. And if Schwartz, I hope you're listening, Schwartz, bring the pressure from the outside and force him to step up in the middle. Because as great as he is, he's the league MVP. He still looks uncomfortable stepping up in the pocket at times, especially when he has to step up and deliver a pass outside of the numbers. Inside of numbers, he got 2 of the big. How tall is one of those tight ends? Is like 6'7", right?
Yeah.
6'7".
One of ours or one of theirs?
One of theirs is like, I think so he's going to win that matchup. Have him step up and force him to throw outside. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. I know a lot of other people who have podcasts and they like to bash and they're really hard on Lamar Jackson. I think as a Lamar Jackson, as an Eagles fan, I'm not even Lamar Jackson for what he is, year 3. Dude's an animal.
Fun to watch. Too.
Yeah, he's really exciting to watch. I think he still needs to refine his passing. Yes, but I also think the Ravens front office and coaching have done an excellent job on building an offense that plays to his strengths.
Right. Yeah.
And it really is. So you see his strengths, and as a defense, you have to take away 2 of the things he does really well, and that's break contain and throw inside the numbers. The Titans did it. If you go back and look, I have a link to the film. I told everybody, and I went down to the casino here that day, and I put $100 on the Titans in the playoffs. They said, "What do you see from the Titans that makes you that confident?" I said, "I see a they have a coach who doesn't give up on the run, no matter how bad it's going. No matter how bad it's going, they
Yeah.
don't give up on the run." And Jarrell Casey was playing out of his mind at the time. We need that from Fletch. We need a Malik Jackson showing. We need a Hargrave showing. We need those guys to win the matchup up front. And if they can win their matchup up front, the Eagles can win this game. It falls all on if it's all in the trenches today. Today's game is going to
Mm-hmm.
be won in the trenches. And that's both sides because that offensive line is going to have to grind the ball, get Miles Sanders some holes so you're not putting Wentz in third and sevens and third and eights and letting Wink send 7, 8 guys at Wentz.
Yeah,
So the
that's
game's
gonna be
going to be
big.
won in the trenches.
Yeah, that's gonna be big. But we also, like you said, I know they don't give up, but we have to stick to the run and kind of keep that ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm probably going to be 100% wrong, but I really don't feel like he's going to run like that on us this game. I just think our defensive line can contain him to a certain extent. He might break one big one off or something like that. I just don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be a
That's
consistent
expected.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
expected.
I just don't think it'll be a consistent thing. With that said, he's probably our main thing. Now, these next 3 questions, these are the last 3 questions. I like these to be the last 3 questions because it always reminds me that the game's like 15 minutes away. So I want to ask you, what are your biggest concerns going into this game? Other than Lamar Jackson, I want to say. Let's, diversify it a little bit.
I'd say discipline. I think, especially on the defense, we've been getting tricked a lot on like reverses and all that, where players they're getting like good chunk yards off reverses, and I know that they're going to really be focused on stopping the run and stopping Lamar Jackson. And we're going to be so focused on following the flow, and next thing you know, someone's
Jet
doing an
sweep,
end
right.
around.
End around jet
Yeah.
sweeps.
So I think my biggest concern today is going to be that discipline, that knowing like, yes, we need to contain Lamar Jackson. Yes, we need to stop the run, but we need to have that disciplined eye to say, okay, they know this too. So we need to watch out for those sweeps, those reverses from wide receivers, especially from like someone fast like a Hollywood Brown and stuff like that. So being disciplined and just not letting anything deep get behind us. I know we play 10 yards off the ball playing man, but even if we move up, I know that if Brown has at least one step, he's fast. I mean, it is what
Yeah,
it
he's
is.
quick. Yeah.
So, I mean, if he gets one step and Lamar has time to read that, then that's going to be big. But just discipline is my biggest concern.
Mine is picking up the blitz and protecting Wentz. Like your line is in shambles. This is like the worst possible matchup because again, Martindale, I think that's how you say his last name, Martindale, right? Wink Martindale. He's the defensive coordinator. If you watch Ravens film this year, dude, they abuse the quarterback. And then they added Calais Campbell and Derek Wolfe in the offseason, right? Who are 2 vets who know how to play. And they
Derek Wolf's
drafted.
out today.
Oh, he's out. I didn't
Yep.
even check.
And
I'm
Brandon
going to check.
Williams.
Okay.
So
And
that's a
then
little
like
bit good.
they drafted the kid who was the best player on LSU's defense, Queen, who was flying. He flies to the ball, dude. He's with the kid we drafted. The kid we drafted was supposed to be like a great value pack, Queen, and he can't even see the field. So I think here's what we need to do: protect Wentz. And you know how you protect Wentz? I think you got to run him. Is Deshaun active today? No.
Nah.
He's not active. Okay, Hightower got to show up. We need a big play off the bat, right? You got to go deep, and you got to connect something deep to slow them, to stop Wink from bringing 7-8. Because somebody has to have a big play early to make them back off of bringing all of that pressure. And that's it. You got to protect. Like Jamon Brown, like you said earlier, he's played 47 games. He's a vet. I watch film. He fires off the ball. And he's aggressive. I'm okay with you being aggressive and making a mistake being aggressive. I don't want you making a mistake being timid and getting beat up. Fire off the ball, play with aggression on the offensive line, and go run the ball also run the ball, but you also have to take a strike early, take a shot early to let them know that if they bring that blitz, it's a high risk, it's a high reward, but there's also an extremely high risk bringing seven guys. And if you continue to bring seven guys, we're going to make you pay for it.
Facts.
Right.
That's big. Yeah. And my biggest concern, honestly, is it's going to probably stay the same until he's not on the field. It's Nathan Gary. Nathan Gary. The Ravens do nothing, but it feels like, obviously, I'm
Throw it to the tight
exaggerating,
end.
but that's all they do. They just throw it to the tight end. So now
Hand it
you're
off
saying,
and throw it to the tight
exactly.
end.
So now you're saying, like, all right, so that's his weakness, and this is all we do anyways. Like, all right, let's just press start and play. Because, I mean, there's nothing you got to really. So that's
I'm
definitely my
expecting
biggest
Kayvon
concern.
Wallace and Will Parks to draw the tight end assignment.
I'm
And,
hoping.
and you said Gary can spot. Like I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles play a base nickel today because I think their defensive line is that good that they can go a nickel base, use the nickel as their base, Wallace on Andrews or Parks on Andrews, whoever's playing. I don't think Epps will see a lot today. I don't think Epps is going to get a lot of playing time today.
He's out today.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
he's
out.
not. I didn't. So you get Parks and Wallace on the tight end, and you base it up nickel, Fletch, and I wouldn't even. You know what I would do? Sweat, Hargraves, Fletch, and Malik Jackson's playing a lot of defensive end today. He's going to come down and force one of the tight ends to stay in and help. Or
Yeah.
Graham, Hargraves, Fletch, and Jackson's playing DN, and he's going to force one of those tight ends to have to stay in and chip or stay in and help. I would even play Fletch a little bit at defensive end just so the tight ends have to stay in and help
Switch
a
it up.
little bit. Yeah,
Get
If we
exotic.
can
Get
set an
exotic.
edge, yeah.
Get exotic.
If we can set an edge, if we can dominate the edge, I think, like you said, having him step up is really going to be what helps us kind of slow him down. Shout out to Philly girl. What up, girl? Shout out to Drew Johnson. Says base nickel would be a nice change of pace. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Now, my next question, all right? I want you to give me one from offense and one from defense. I want to know who needs to be the star of this game for us to win.
All right. I mean, I have a feeling like which direction you guys are going to go for offense, so I'll switch it up. I'm going to go the development of Travis Fulgham. I like he was a big body receiver that I like. If you look at last week, if you're looking at the stats wise, he caught 50% of Carson Wentz's passes that he completed. So Carson Wentz is starting to trust him, and it's something good to see because we don't really see our receivers the last couple of years really being a highlight of our offense. It's usually either Wentz to Ertz, that whole connection, or when we had Blunt and all those guys running the ball really well, that was a nice connection. And then last year it was like Jordan Howard went down and Miles Sanders looked good, but we were still talking about how we had practice squad guys coming from wide receiver. So, I mean, I think it would be pretty dope to see Travis really continue to flourish and Wentz trust him and making those big plays that, honestly, I think we're missing from Alshon. With Alshon being hurt, now that I see how Fulgham is able to catch higher passes, bounce off dudes, and you don't need to have that perfect ball that you have to do with a smaller receiver, I think that bodes well for Wentz. And I think that's what we're missing from Alshon that we didn't really realize before because we were so focused on the drama and all of that and him being hurt that we realized
His
that
catch radius. He
the
makes
catch
plays.
radius because
He
Wentz
makes
does his balls are a little high at times.
He gets wild, yeah.
But when you have a receiver that's big, you don't notice it because they're able to go up and get it. And one fact that I read online that I thought was pretty cool was that Travis Fulgham is the first player with a touchdown catch in each of his first two games as an Eagle since T.O. in 2004. That just shows you that our wide receivers since 2004,
we don't value the wide receiver positions.
Right.
It's the linebackers of our offense.
Right, exactly.
Facts.
So it's tough. I mean, how are you going to have not even like Djax, Macklin, any of them have back-to-back touchdowns in a game when they first started with an Eagle? So, I mean, I thought that was a pretty cool fact, and hopefully we can get some more Eagles records or facts or something from Fulgham going on. It's always exciting with the new players. So I'll go Fulgham from offense, and on defense, we're going to need Fletcher Cox really disrupting up that up front. like you were saying before, Swerve, we really need that up front line getting after it. And I think it starts with Fletcher Cox and his attitude and all that, and just plowing through the center and guards and making Lamar Jackson's day hell. So those are my two players.
For me, I think it's Hightower.
Oh,
It's
Look at
Hightower
that. Shout out to Y Sway. You guys are on the same
because
page.
you're going to need somebody to stretch the field and stop them from blitzing. And I believe if you keep the blitz, you slow them down. Like you have to make contact with the you have to you have to keep that defense occupied and let
right.
them know that if you blitz, we're going to punish you. And Hightower is the only person not the only person with big play potential, but the only person playing the wide receiver role that can go deep. Like I said, it was two plays last week that were this close to being big plays. And I think
Right.
if he makes that first catch, that changes the whole tone of the game. And then the catch that went through his arms in the end zone, I blame that on rookie jitters. Like I think if Hightower can stretch the field and make the Ravens fear a deep threat, it opens up the offense for the second. I believe it's 1A and 1B. So Hightower is 1A on offense, and if he's playing big, Ertz has a huge game because that safety has to respect the ability to go deep. On defense, it's Nathan Gary. Because I believe the line is going to handle their business, and he has to win his matchup. If he's spying on Lamar Jackson, he has to spy on Lamar Jackson. If he's in coverage on the tight end, he has to make the play or not allow for yards after the catch. So if Gary's on the field, which unfortunately he will be, he has to be the star of the defense. And those are my picks. Hightower on offense, because if he stretches the field, that means Ertz gets off and has a huge game. So those two, that's a combination. And Gary on defense, because I believe Fletch and them are going to win their matchup.
Yeah,
So
I think the defense is done that.
if
Defensive
Fletch is
line is
winning
done
the
their job.
matchup, that means Gary has to play big because it's on him to either spy on Lamar Jackson or cover Andrews or Boyle.
Yeah.
So those are my players.
Yeah, I'm going to go with defense. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I think Will Parks, honestly, I think we're going to see why, people were so excited about him. I think he really can give us something, maybe a little bit of what we were missing with Malcolm Jenkins being gone. So I'm going to go with defense, Will Parks. Offense, since nobody said it, I'm going to go with the easy one. You guys are going to loft me up a quick little alley-oop. I'm going to dunk it. Yeah, I need to see Miles, man.
Yeah.
Miles need to get going, bro. Miles need to get that ball in his hand. I think it was you that said he needs to get around 20 to 25 touches.
Yeah, he got to touch the ball
that.
20 times
Yeah.
today.
I need to see that. So, yeah, I definitely got to say Miles. I think y'all made that easy for me. I love it.
Yes, sir.
Now
if you want to win, put Booby in.
Exactly. Run, Booby, run. So, now the last question, y'all. And I say that because we are only 13 minutes away from game time. So, we are going to be ending this up. So give me you guys' scores prediction. All right. I'm going to go first because I've been pretty solid on my score prediction. I said 23-17. Eagles are definitely winning. So, y'all give me y'all predictions.
That's a solid one.
23-21 Eagles. I took the Birds money line because I believe the defensive line shows up. And I believe if Wentz is the leader I believe he is, he pulled Hightower to the side after the game. And all week they worked on that deep, getting some type of chemistry on that deep ball. Because like I said, they were inches away from two big plays. And I believe for everybody who's bashed Wentz this year, it's not all on him. It's not all on him. I believe he pulled him to the side. I agree, Gary to the bench. Hey, Gary. I believe Wentz pulled Hightower to the side, and after practice, they worked on that route, and they're going to hit one early in the game, and then they're going to hit one early in the game. Ertz, after we trashed them all show, had a huge game.
Hey, I wouldn't be mad about that.
23-21, 24-21. Tight game. Defense shows up. Birds money line. If you still got time, FanDuel or whoever, they don't plug me or nothing, so I'm not giving no advertisement. Go to the local casino, call the bookie, call somebody, take the Birds money line today.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I think you hit it on what you said, 24-21, and I like that. It's gonna be a close game. I agree. I don't know about the money line, but I think the Ravens are getting like 9 points. So
Yeah, they're getting
I mean,
8.5. They're getting 8.5.
so this might be a good game to bet on if you want to bet on the Eagles, especially with the points, just in case. But yeah, I think 24-21. I think it's a close game. I'm hoping that the defense can hold people in check because they have allowed some out there scores this season, close to 40 points. So if we can hold them and our offense can at least work on what they were doing last week and kind of keep that momentum going where Wentz was playing semi well. I mean, I one pick was Ertz's fault for falling off his route. The other one was kind of a punt anyways. It was just like, all right, I'm just going to toss it up there and see what happens. It's like 50 yards on the field. So I'm not too worried about that. It's not like the honest interceptions that are just bad throws. But if they can continue to do that, Ravens defense is good. There ain't no joke, so I don't think we're going to hang a bunch of points on them. But 24, maybe even a special teams touchdown.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, we going to win this game. They are hating on us, Philly. They are saying that we about to lose by like 10. They talking hella junk. So, and I also want to say I do not condone any or promote any, gambling. So if you guys are under 18, do not have your parents coming at me because I did not tell you to bet on nobody. All right. We just having some talk. But everybody in here, I do appreciate everybody rocking out with us. And Marv, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me. I definitely enjoyed myself. Anytime you guys want me on, just hit me up and let me know. I'm around.
Yes, sir. And like I said, you can find his links. I'm going to be putting them in the description. If you are here, if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you haven't yet, hit that like button. And other than that, Brandon, you got anything to say to these people before we go?
Nah, man. Do the normal finish, bro.
You know what it is. You know what time it is. It's Fly, Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.